Hey guys, welcome to my talk. This is a quick TED Talk and a quick episode about AAA games and how we have to kind of talk about them for a quick second. The fact that we have to even talk about them is amazing. Welcome to a new episode of Defeationist, guys. Let's get this started. Mind you, these are in no particular order. Let's do this. And like I said, these are in no particular order, but we're going to start with one. A lack of innovation. Some AAA games are criticized for playing it safe, while sticking to familiar formulas rather than taking risks and innovating new gameplay mechanics or storytelling approaches, which means we get the same game over and over again, even if it's from a different company. Some companies just don't like to, shake it up. And I completely understand why you're like, some games can't shake it up because, people won't like it. But if you go from a stealth action game to a survival horror, then something is completely wrong. A la Metal Gear Solid 5 to Metal Gear Survive. You know what I mean? Number 2. The overemphasis on graphics. AAA games often prioritize cutting-edge graphics, visual fidelity, and sometimes the expense of other important aspects like gameplay, depth, or narrative richness. The order comes to the mind immediately when that is said to me, or when I read that out loud in my own script. It literally comes to mind immediately how that game had all the graphics of a movie and all the depth of a small puddle. It didn't have anything. Games nowadays don't really need these overcomplicated graphics. You just need to make a good game and then have good graphics. Like, you don't need graphics that are so cutting edge that it looks realistic. I really could care less. I just care about the gameplay because, it's a video game. Number 3. Microtransactions and DLCs. Many AAA titles incorporate microtransactions, loot boxes, and extensive DLC content, leading to concerns about pay-to-win mechanics, incomplete game releases, and accommodation of gaming experience, which, again, I have another game that comes to mind, which is Star Wars Battlefront. And before they got in so much trouble, their loot boxes were nonsense. And it was pay to win. You can have a level 5 card for a character and your character is not the same as another character. It just didn't make any sense. And with this, it kind of makes it seem like some of these games are incomplete and they just take some out, put it as DLC, and then put it back to you later. That's how it feels. Number 4. Annual franchise releases. Some AAA franchises releases new iterations on an annual basis, leading to concerns about franchise fatigue, rushed development cycles, and lack of meaningful evolution between installments, which does happen. Hence why, and you know what, the best way to describe this is when I used to work at GameStop. I actually had somebody get mad because the newest version of 2K, which was I believe 23 at the time, just came out, and a person tried to sell their last year's version because they bought the ultimate edition of 22. And I looked at him when he said, "Hey man, this should get me a lot of money." I said, "No, it's not." He said, "What?" I said, I don't know if you know, but these come out every year, every single year. So the very second you walked out the door with this ultimate edition, it degraded in value by like 50. And it literally degrades $1 a day, if not more, by the time the new one comes out, to the point where you're only paying like 99 cents. Like, get out of here, man. And he was mad, but he understood what I meant when I said, if you keep buying these every year, the more you're wasting your money. Or you can just update the roster every year. That's literally it. But games like that is what's causing the downfall of gaming sometimes. And it causes issues. And I don't know why people always just fall for let's get the new game this year. Do you want to know my WWE buying habits? 1923. And the funny thing is, in order of wrestling games that I have, it's definitely 09. It is definitely 14, 16, 19, and 23. Those are the wrestling games that I have currently in my possession, and I will not buy a wrestling game every year because it is a waste of my time. And some of the older games has DLC to update the roster, so let's not get into that nonsense. Number 5, monetization practices. Publishers are sometimes criticized for aggressive monetization practices, including season passes, deluxe editions, and pre-order bonuses, which can create a perception of prioritizing profit over player satisfaction, which leads to a bunch of nonsense when single-player games have, season passes or battle passes, or games that shouldn't really have season passes or battle passes. Tekken, Street Fighter actually have these, and it doesn't make any logical sense of why games like this have battle passes or season passes. Some people will also put Yu-Gi-Oh in that boat, but there's a difference between Yu-Gi-Oh and there's a difference between Street Fighter and Tekken. Yu-Gi-Oh does not cost $1 or anything to start the game. You can start the game and pay nothing and still get your deck, or you can actually buy the season pass, which is like not even $40, and actually get extra points and stuff when you win matches. It is not necessary to play the game. Hell, you don't even gotta spend $1 on Yu-Gi-Oh to actively get an enjoyment out of the game. It's still a feature complete Yu-Gi-Oh card game. Number 6, spectacle over substance. Some AAA games provide flashy set pieces, cinematic cutscenes, and big budget marketing campaigns over meaningful gameplay depth, leading to shallow experiences that provide style over substance. Once again, it goes right back to the order, and where it was just a bunch of spectacle pieces. And I believe it was Yachi that brought up about a point. There was literally a room that had nothing to do with anything that you can walk into, and it was very detailed. And again, he brought up a point. How about you just close off this room and then just add more gameplay stuff to the game? Mind you, the order is short as shit, and you can beat that game in like 20 minutes. I'm over exaggerating, but dog, half these games these days just have so much spectacle and not enough substance that you're like, come on guys. That's why I miss games like Devil May Cry. That's why I love From Software. That's why I love games like Half-Life, where anything spectacle that happens, you still have control of, your controller. Okay, Devil May Cry's case, it depends on what's happening, but again, you still have access to your controller. Prime example, in Dark Souls, if you are running and you see a fucking dragon come out of nowhere and it would try to burn the area on the bridge that you're on, that's a set piece or a dynamic moment that happens regardless of who you are, but you still have access to your controller. Half-Life, there was a whole thing where a portal opens and you actually let a bunch of aliens into the new world, and guess what? You still have access to your controller. It is not a cutscene. It is a situation that happens to you as a player, which I miss that game design. It's something fierce. And finally, the homogenization of design. Certain AAA games may feel formulaic and derivative as publishers chase trends and duplicate successful formulas rather than fostering creativity and diversity in the game design, which means they just like to create Fortnite, Call of Duty, or Clash of Clans. I don't know if you guys know, but those are the 3 highest grossing type of games that has come out in the last decade. But every company keeps trying to chase that nonsense, so we get games that are just battle royales, or they chase everything and try to create the same type of situation. Hell, we got a My Hero Academia battle royale. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but that was a little weird and out of the blue. Or how just because we got Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm, we got every single game that came after it, including a My Hero fighting game that became an arena fighter that has the similar mechanics but doesn't have none of the depths of an Ultimate Ninja Storm. And where I like games that actually take a different approach, aka Dragon Ball Fighter Z, which if I was an anime company, I would give Dragon Ball Fighter Z, or Arc System Works to be more specific, all of my games. If I wanted to create a fighter in a genre, it would be just like
meme. Look at you, you who were once so proud. Go now and never return.